We're talking about a lot of things today. What I was thinking about, what I mentioned, is recharging our life to do a reset, thinking about what our priorities are and what living a life of priority means that living a life where you agree with your responsibilities, where you agree with everything that you do, which means that we have to stay in alignment with people that we enjoy being around, people that we do want to see, doing things that are joyful and pleasant to us that we do. Sometimes we do things that we don't want to do, and why is that? Or we put up with behaviors, or we put up with a person that just brings us gloom and doom. Why is that? When we're recharging ourselves, we're disconnecting from habitual behaviors that we have and habitual thought, thinking that maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. And so recognizing through journaling old behavior to help you set boundaries so your plans are actually made by you and things that you agree upon. And when we're talking about priorities, I'm not talking about isolating yourself. I'm talking about putting yourself into situations that align with you, that you agree with, where you are happy to be there. This morning, I am happy to be here. I don't feel like it because I fell. I'd rather just rest, but it's important to me to spread a message that's important to me. So that's what I'm doing. And that's why I'm late, and I apologize. The few people that come and watch me, I appreciate them very much, and I want to be here for you on the days that I say I'll be here, which is important to me because it's important to you, and I like it to do this, and I feel that it helps me. That doesn't mean I don't get in a grouchy mood sometimes. And that doesn't mean that sometimes I think about changing parts of my life, but it's a careful, quiet thought that I have about how I would like to live. And of course, I have memories that I would like to erase. And of course, I'm living with mistakes that I've made. Of course, I've done a lot of things in the past that I regret, but this is now. This is where I am in my morning. This is where I am at this juncture of my life. And talking about boundaries is important. And remember, when we were talking about that, we're on week 2, going to week setting our boundaries is identifying your priorities, practice saying no, and schedule blocks of time for yourself. And what I mean by that is if you find yourself caught up in doing things for others a lot, block yourself unnegotiated time for yourself. It could be the first 30 minutes after work. It could be 1 hour in the morning. It could be a time in the on the weekend where you have scheduled time that belongs to you and only you. And it's not to be compromised by anybody, to keep yourself grounded. And this here is like when we plug our cell phone in every night so it's charged, we need to unplug ourselves every day so we can charge. Remember, we're getting our charge by disconnecting, not connecting to something, by disconnecting from everything. That's to be a focal point of finding boundaries, disconnecting from social media, disconnecting from the news, disconnecting everything, and enjoying something that we enjoy by ourselves or at peace. And it doesn't have to be by yourself. I don't want to get any confusion that you isolate yourself during having boundaries. You could isolate yourself from some people. There's definitely people that we can all use less of in our lives, right? And sometimes there's certain people and duties and things that we have in our life that bring us to what we feel like is our capacity. Like I am at my capacity because I can't stop saying no. Or I'm at a full capacity that I'm now getting resentment. And it could be in a relationship, it could be at work, it could be just where you volunteer for something. You can get resentment because you're afraid to say no, and you continue to say yes because habitually that's how you feel you are accepted, by agreeing to do things for people that you may not necessarily want to do. And sometimes it is out of kindness, but a lot of times we're locked into people pleasing because it keeps us from having to fix ourselves. And to get in alignment and to get out of the role play of being a people pleaser, I'm okay to be accepted, it takes blocks of times for you to be alone. You have to be alone. You have to set times to meditate, journal, and take time to yourself so you can investigate and see for yourself why you deserve personal check-ins with yourself, to take time to check in. And how do we start this? We start by saying no, and we get to the nitty gritty of just starting to block time for yourself. Time for yourself includes reading, possibly reading the Bible, praying, meditating, disconnecting from different types of social media, disconnecting from the news, disconnecting from your everyday life and your responsibilities. You have to put blocks of time in just to, I'm a nap taker. I take naps every day because that's how I disconnect. And I like waking up multiple times a day because you have more mornings. So these are all policies that you can make. You can have a policy that works as an agenda in your life where you own your evenings, you own your Sundays. Good morning, everyone that's in here. If you've never been in here before, my name's Ray. I do construction. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just simply somebody who likes to share the benefits that have helped me feel joy in my life through journaling, having boundaries. And I'm not an expert at it, but what I am is somebody who constantly pushes the envelope on finding peace in our life, and enjoying our life, and understanding that my purpose is to be happy. I don't overdo it. I don't get overwhelmed about it. But I can tell you, sometimes um, finding ways to get resentment and dread out of your life, if you're trapped into people pleasing and things like that. I had some self-esteem issues growing up, and I was a people pleaser, and I spent a big part of my life doing things just to be accepted. And I am better at being myself versus being a people pleaser. And now I enjoy doing this. Um, we're on our second week of boundaries in your life on a 4-week series. And what boundaries are, on the first week, your boundaries are policies and rules that we make for ourselves of what we will and we won't tolerate. And it helps us identify where we can make ourselves better for us, not for others. This is where it comes to. This is where we become our people pleasers. This is where we refocus the pleasing onto ourselves. And if you find that you have low self-esteem, or you see, or you get impressed by one video or somebody else's life, you too have that same life, and you are worthy. We can start with little lists that you make people laugh. There's people that like you. You're good at your job. You have skills. We all have worth in our life. And when we're doing activities for others, and we're not respecting boundaries and policies and finding where they are in our life, which, by the way, you can find where you have alignment. And I'm going to get right into that. Where you need boundaries in your life is where you find yourself being resentful, where you dread, where you make a plan that you wish you wouldn't have had, when you've made a plan and you hope that it rains so you don't have to go. Right in there somewhere, there's part of a mental, habitual habit that you have that agrees to things that sometimes you don't want to do. And what I do know is that mine comes from low self-esteem during my childhood development, when I was told my neck would be broken, I'll wring your neck, got your ass kicked. A lot of us Gen X's did. You know, our parents kicked our asses. And What was it for? I don't know. Half the time I didn't even do anything, but it's okay. So, one of the things and the key concept about the boundaries is we find alignment with what we're doing, that it is something that we enjoy. And when we unplug ourselves from things, when we take time away from responsibilities, what are you enjoying being away from? These are all little prompts that we use in journaling. I enjoy it when I don't have to. I enjoy it when I don't have to do um, cutting trees, lawn work. There's certain things that we don't like that we do, and that's not what a boundary is, because we do that because that's one of our um, responsibility. A boundary is something that's going to make us feel like we can't be ourselves there. And by the way, the only time you are yourself is when you are alone, because no matter who walks in the room, you put a mask on for that person. So we truly are never ourselves. And we want to be accompanied by our true selves. And we want to be accompanied by the people that know us and people that accept us. And with boundaries, they're kind, they're precise, and they're clear. Boundaries are clear, total rules. I said this before, but when we were all kids and we were growing up, we all had those friends that we weren't allowed to wear shoes in their house. That was a boundary of their mother or their father, that just don't wear shoes in their house. And the next time you went, you knew you did that. You conform to it because we conform to other people's boundaries because we're nice and we're respectful, and we may want that person as a friend. Boundaries also help you control narcissists and manipulators in your life. And when you have people like that in your life, don't forget to ask why. Why did you say that to me? Why did you talk to me that way? Who are you? That shuts people like that down. I had a couple of people in my life, and when I learned how to manipulate back little fucking narcissists and stuff like that in my life that would just say things. And then what happened is they said something about my company years ago. And I immediately said, "What are you talking about? Why would you say that?" They're like, "What? Why did you just say that?" "Well, I'm just joking around." "But why specifically, outside of joking around, would you say that to me? Why did you think I needed to hear that?" "Well, we just joke around." "Okay, I don't want to be talked to like that. And I don't joke about my business. I don't joke about me." That is setting a boundary. That is setting people straight. And sometimes it's ourselves that we need to set straight. Maybe it's spending habits that we have. Maybe it's what we spend our time on. There's bad habits in our life. This is where personal boundaries come in. We sometimes should outgrow things. We got too old. We're too tired to tolerate, too old to keep up, or we become too wise to spend. These are all things in our life. As you're getting older, everything that you need, everything you want to do, it all changes. You want to weave a life with boundaries that are tied to your behaviors, your friendships, your spending, your emotions, your physical self, what you eat, what you do, how you think. These are lessons in life as we grow older with boundaries. But if we're never letting go of our old selves, then we're not going to be able to afford ourselves a life with boundaries that can help us keep a happy momentum in life. Um, this 4 week series about the boundaries. It's a little bit tight because I watched last Tuesday's whole episode, and um, man, I went on that episode. I was sick because I was sick last weekend. This one, my back hurts. And what I'm thinking is that it's going to be really tight to get everything in. And you'll have to carry it on your own. If there's something that appeals to you about the boundaries, do some research on your own on the boundaries. Where do you see yourself aligning? What do you align with from what you want to do? What do you align with for your spending, your savings? What do you feel you're about? Where do you want to be into the future? Because you're building your future today. When you're somebody who journals, and you're somebody with boundaries, and you're somebody who's trying to live a wholesome life, you are your future today. So what you're focusing on today, you're going to carry into the future. And you want to let go of what you think is wrong with you. You want to journal. And it's okay to be human, because humans, guess what? We like to fuck with ourselves in our mind. And a lot of the things that we think, and a lot of the things we think about ourselves are not reality, and they are not facts. But here is what can become reality. And here are some facts. If you journal, and you take time for yourself, and you block out times for yourself, now let's talk about facts. You're going to get better sleep. You're going to be less stressed. You're going to have a better mental picture of yourself and your future. You're going to be mindful. And once again, your childhood and your youth and a lot of how you feel about yourself come rushing in back into your life, right through the front door. It comes back. Because a lot of it we lose. Life is sometimes like a warden that slowly takes things away, and we don't feel that we deserve it anymore, or that's just how it is. This is my life. Align your priorities up with how you want to live. Remember, we were talking on our 14-week. That repetition is what does anything. Little bits of step, little bits of investment. And an analogy is, if you save starting at 18, $1 every day, which is $352 a year for 20 years, when you're 65, with compounded interest and everything, it turns into a big amount of money. It blossoms. But do you notice that you only had to put in $1? So a compliment a day to yourself, 2 compliments a day to yourself. What the little turns into big. Everything's little steps. Making our boundaries are going to be a series of small steps, a series of writing, a series of journaling, a series of little mini bits and little bits at a time of removing and changing our habits, our habitual thought. So we have our little 4-week deal. So our personal space, our workload are things to talk about. But I want you to write this down if you can. I'm going to limit my handout time. That's my give out time. That's something just to think about. When somebody's asking you for something, they're asking you for energy and time. How much are you going to hand out? Do you have handout money in your wallet that you can just hand out a lot of money that you can give away? When you're at the store, you're budgeting, you're setting boundaries of what I have to spend on Christmas and that. So these are all boundaries. So we have boundaries already in our life that we apply. We have rules and lists and policies in our life that we apply. And believe it or not, we do it through journaling, because we write lists. And journaling is writing a list, right? You don't have a password. So when somebody needs access to your life, they have to have the password, right? So you are like Wi-Fi. And if they don't have the password, they're not getting into your life. That's kind of a cool way to live. And it's a way to think. It's an analogy to have if they don't have your Wi-Fi. So when it comes to setting boundaries and blocking out time, um, and people are going to freak out, their mindset changes. Hey, you don't answer your phone ever after 9 o'clock. No refunds, no exchanges on your boundaries. Yeah, I decided that I don't need my phone after 9 o'clock anymore at night. And I think there's a way on your phone, and I did it on mine, from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Of calls you can put in there that you can receive calls from. Brian, am I right about this? Because I think that I had somebody do this to my phone where I still get it from my family and my kids in the middle of the night, which none of them would call me in the middle of the night. But if they had to, there's a way to do settings on your phone to do that. Um, so you want to be present in your life, and you want to you want to only bring into your life what's absolutely necessary for you and yourself. Um, yes, night mode is on with you. Really, Brian? You got to put that in there. Night mode is on. I'm just kidding around. Um, so I need you to give yourself a hand, to give yourself the help, and to recharge yourself by disconnecting from some things. Give yourself a boundary check. Give yourself a self radar check for your space. And where is it that you find frustration? Where is it that you have parts of resentment? And where has it? Um, oh, yeah, that's right. Because I did text you. Man, I was in pain at 4 o'clock this morning. I couldn't even get back up. So, with yourself and many others is where we're going to set all of our boundaries in. I had set up. So when I watched this episode, and I said, when anybody that was here on Tuesday, that I'm going to watch it, that I'm going to have certain notes. And so I watched it yesterday, and I try to find like these little notes because I get ideas. And if you have ideas when we talk, if you have things that you want to share in here, I will try to read what you're saying. So let's discover a good way for us to have boundaries in our life through our recent behaviors and what we believe is repetitive habits that we have, and the giving of our time and our energy that we don't necessarily want to give away, and wake up every day with the presumption that you're too busy to deal with anyone else's problems. And that is not selfish, because that is self-care. Um, when you should pat yourself on the back, and when people try to make you feel guilty, should you feel guilty because you ate a meal because you had to survive? And more importantly in life is our mental health, and we have to feed it. And what we're going to feed it is a big serving of self-compassion, a big serving of worth, that we know that we are worthy to have a good life, that we're worthy of, and should be able to guilt-free say the word no. Remember, no is a full sentence. It's a 100% full sentence saying no. And we don't have to give reason to say no. And the whole reason why you're not going to give a reason is because you don't have to give anybody a reason. Nobody is in control of you. Now, we all have some little manipulators and people that think that we have control of us in our lives, and those are the ones that you're going to start questioning. You're going to distance yourself away from people causing resentment, people that are keeping you from feeling self-worth. And if you feel you have to take an overload on at work, to be the person, the yes man, you already validated when they hired you. Don't do any more work than you have to. If you want to be a team player and they want that and they compensate, then go ahead and do that. My company, the way that it runs, I compensate. We don't ask people to do more than we expect them to do. We just hire more people. And not everybody can be the same. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. I'm not saying that, but you know what? I'd like to get as close as possible to having a life where I don't have surprise emergencies created by me anyway. Right. So, resentment over dread. Why am I always the one? And I hope that they cancel. That's just a little statement on some of my notes. Resentment or dread. So that's a sign that you probably shouldn't have agreed and that you might need a boundary. When you have resentment or dread over a commitment, like, fuck, I wish I would have said I'd go there. Hell, I don't have a time. That means you're overloaded when you think that. When you agree to something and you have resentment or dread, then we have uh, an area that's going to need a boundary, resentment or dread right there. Over explaining or apologizing just for preferences. When you are over explaining or apologizing, there's no need for that. What you want to do is you want to work on self compassion if you feel that way sometimes. That's what you want to do. Feeling overwhelmed, scattered, or behind, and you can't find uninterrupted time. If you feel like you can't find uninterrupted time, then you're going to have time for yourself. That's what you're going to have time for. That's what you're going to have time for. Passive aggressive behavior when you wish you had been direct. That is getting upset because you didn't explain something any good. Repeated last minute requests or urgent pings from people that you feel that you have to do. A lot of times we take self exploring to find out why we have a hard time saying no. And that's totally what it's all about right there. And this is why you want to mark off, look at your calendar and mark off times to journal, times to just set back and think about it. It's so true. Chronic lateness, if you're late a lot, you're overcommitted. If you're frustrated, you're overcommitted. If you have sleep disruption, you're overcommitted. These are all signs that you are overcommitted, that you have spread the butter thin, that you have yourself spread way too thin. You know, when you start blocking time for yourself, and hey, I'm not even kidding anybody. I was in my 50s. I'm 55. I was in my 50s before I even realized that I could enjoy time. I did fun things. You might see some pictures where I was having fun. I wasn't. I was in places that I didn't belong, relationships that I didn't belong in. I I wasn't free until COVID. I wasn't free until after I turned 50. Hi, Crystal. How are you? Thanks for coming in. Thank you for your art. And I was so happy to be part of life, not just life, but my life and who I was. I found out that I really liked writing. I liked journaling. I got back into some hobbies, started taking some time for myself, and realistically stopped going out and even feathered out friends. I sorted some things out on my own and didn't become overwhelmed. I used to volunteer for some groups at night on the weekends that took up my time, had people up to my boat, all these soul sucking people that were in my life, which is okay because they weren't bad people. I just allowed them to overtake my life as well. So that's what you don't want. You want to discover and explore and realize that your purpose in life is to be happy. And being a people pleaser, we're not here to fucking be anybody's entertainment unless that's your life. Want to be in somebody's entertainment? Go ahead and become an actor or a comedian. It's our life and you can entertain yourselves. That's what we want to do. And we want to spend the rest of the day trying to make sure there's some block out time for ourselves. Of course, I'm going to take some time for myself because I want to make my back better. And I'm sorry I was late. I was having some problems this morning getting ready. But here's one thing that I will tell you that's a guarantee, and it's for you, that next Tuesday, our live is going to take place in a brand new little area that I've constructed. And with the work of Brian, pat yourself on the back, and my son and me, over a period of a really long time, redid one big part of our shop and stuff out there. I'm finally going to have a board that I can really write stuff on with our whole series, to share ideas and plans on how you can implement boundaries in your life, how to implement and crush your feelings of low self-esteem in your life, which is my so just talk a little bit. I'm just talking on the side right now, pretending that you're all here having coffee with me. So we're starting off the 1st of January with rebuilding and reframing ourselves and our self-esteem. And it's an 8-week that we're doing twice a week. And it starts the very first Tuesday of 2026. And we're going to start that off with building self-esteem and how to feel great about yourself without changing anything but your mind. So it doesn't take a new pair of pants, clothes, a car, and a lot of things to, good morning, proud, to keep yourself happy. What it takes is more validation from within, and it's free. Isn't that great that this class is always free? And to reframe our minds, our self-esteem, of how we are. We're going to raise ourselves as a child. If you're raising yourself as an adult, as a child, you're going to raise yourself in compassion, telling yourself that you're good. And we're going to get to the nitty gritty right off the way. And I'm going to start showing you how by just making a list of what you're good at, where you're validated, where you've been complimented in your life. And that's where we are. And I appreciate all of you too. And we're going to have a great new year this year with our self-esteem and self-discipline when it comes to self. At the beginning today, I was making a coffee in my kitchen. And sometime during the day today, you're going to have to give your phone a break, and it needs to recharge, and you're going to plug it in. When we're different, when we need a break, we're going to unplug ourselves to recharge. We're going to remove our responsibilities and our thoughts and everything that's racing to recharge. And that's where a boundary comes in. That's where a self-check-in moment comes in. As we get into next week on scheduling time for ourselves on week 3 of boundaries, of what boundaries are, how do I identify them, how do I align myself to a good life, is all boundaries. And when we talk about journaling, that's tied into boundaries. And when we talk about self-esteem, that ties into self-care and how we feel about ourselves when we wake up, of what it's going to be like to live your precious life today. We want to be glad that we are ourselves and not be like, God, I wish I lived that life. I wish I was on vacation. I wish I could do that. Well, you can. And it starts with realizing that you deserve it and realizing that you are worthy of all that you want. And you have to make the first step of giving yourself a break, self-love, and recharge, and blocking out time. And if you can't go on a big vacation, go to the next town over or go somewhere just on a Saturday. Bring a book with you. Take some time. Make yourself your own picnic. Give a break. Find something that is your escape. And living a good life is an escape from the breakdown of real life. We need good mental health habits. Cell phones are okay, scrolling's okay, but too much of anything is not okay. So we need to know how to break away. We need to know what to give up. Being caught up in gossip and in real life drama and gossip and talking about people of their successes and everything takes away from your own. That is putting a cable in your walkway and you're going to trip over it. Who gives a fuck what someone else is doing? Who's doing good? Who's doing bad? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Get yourself into a mindset that is a positive, and your garden will change. It'll be a garden of peace and delight. You'll be who you always once were until you want to change it. And you have to have reasons to change what you want to change about yourself. Everything going on in your life right now is all a product of your mind and a reality that you created through your own thought and the people that are in your life. This is your creation, and you can change it. You're the director, the writer, producer, and you can say, cut, cut. I want to make changes here. How do I do it? How do I get my mind to stop habitually making choices that hurt me, that take away my time? Why don't I deserve this? This is where we look inward. This is where we want to align. And if I want to change something in my life, what is it and where do I start? You start by realizing it, and then you start by writing out your future. When you wake up in the morning, you start with gratitude, because gratitude is the foundation to living a life of peace. Without gratitude, you have absolutely nothing, because it's a focal point that is of good that comes through what created you. And remember that we are not a product of evolution. We are created by a meaningful thought of love. And therefore, gratitude every day of what you're grateful for today, 3 to 5 things every day. If you did that for 10 days, first thing in the morning and at night, I guarantee on the 11th day, you will be different. You will be totally different. You can make you a good future starting today just by being grateful. Being grateful for what you may have heard, being grateful for good thoughts that you come in the head. And I want you to this holidays, think back to holidays that really made you laugh and giggle, because I can think back to holidays that made me cry. And that is gratitude, because I wouldn't create one of those anymore. I want you to make time this week, cut out to your schedule that you own on your time off, to start a gratitude journal, just to write down. And it's not thinking. Thinking and meditating is good. Writing and planning is better. Putting that into action is great. Living it is love. And this is a process. As you are growing older right now, every day we all are, and our needs are changing. And what you're going to need most is a sound, good mind and self-love as you get older. Because when you have that, you're grateful, do you know that grateful people start coming into your life? Then you have people in your life that are grateful for you. These are non-users. They're non-manipulators. They're people that see you for yourself. You ever heard, oh, the salt of the earth? This is the greatest person. I said, what the fuck's that supposed to mean, the salt of the earth? Well, where's the pepper? So what am I, the sour cream? So we want to challenge you today, before this coming Tuesday, to pop in some stuff on the comments of what you're grateful for. And if you did take time over the weekend, if you did cancel a plan that you don't want to do, if you have a plan that you don't want to do, call and cancel it. Hey, I was thinking about it. I double booked. I'm not going to be able to help you this Saturday. It's only Thursday. People cancel weddings. People cancel whole marriages. People cancel shit all the time. Don't beat yourself up and be guilty. If it's going to protect your time and it's going to create less resentment, it's going to make you feel better. If you want to free yourself and let yourself out of this fucking people-pleasing, cockadoodle bullshit jail, start canceling, start saying no. Brian, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but that's funny. Brian, with good reason. And Brian, that's because I have boundaries. I know what days I can tolerate shit, not. So grateful I work remote and don't have to go to the company end of the year party. That's cool. But what if you found out that they gave away mystery checks and envelopes? Would you go then? Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get rid of this old cold I had. So let's just hope that everybody's going to start their day off being grateful, writing up on your little journals, realizing where in your life you're going to need to put your boundaries. Look forward to next year, um, our self esteem, the great you. That's some stuff I'm writing. Brian, I can't wait to show you some of that too. It was going to be 6 weeks, but I think it's going to be 8 weeks. The 14-week journaling one, man, there's some people in here that were here all the time. And I'll tell you, that one made some changes in my life that were hard to deal with because it created a lot of emotion. Um, it's going to be a lot of emotion. Brian, our company party this year is going to be badass. It's on the 19th, a week from tomorrow. And it's going to be at Fobo de Cho, all you can eat beef. Man, they're going to be freaking out when my crew comes in there. They're going to be, their arms are going to be tired from cutting steak, is what's going to happen. So, um, I'm sorry I was late, everybody. Please forgive me. But, you know, I still had to go on because, starting my Tuesdays and Thursdays like this, I feel it helps me too. And I like it. And it makes me feel better about myself, and it makes me feel better for you. If I said something today that really resonates with you, write that down and think about why that resonated to you. Remember, today is the first day of your future, and the seeds you sow today are going to be what blossoms into the future. The weeds you pull today will not be there tomorrow, right? Sometimes the same weeds keep pulling up. You ever had a garden that you're constantly pulling weeds out, but it was your favorite garden? Sometimes our life is like that. We constantly have these weeds or feelings that come in that we need to stop those thoughts where we might have compare ourselves to people. Forget about it. Nobody compares to you. You're number one. Or we would think, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. Focusing on what you have versus focusing on what you want is what gratitude is. And creating your future self is not a selfish person that compares themselves to people or wants things. It's somebody who's grateful for what they have, grateful for what they have now. Thank you. That makes me want to, Crystal, that makes me want to dye my mustache darker. I won't do that though, but it makes me think about it. But we want our future selves to be, uh, have good self-esteem, have good habits, a journaler, protects your boundaries. And it's that solo person that just quietly walking through the park. You're like, wonder what they're listening to. And they're not even listening to anything. Isn't that cool? That's you. That is you. You have it together. You are the person who has it together. You're putting it together, and your future starts today. And your future has boundaries. Your future has self-compassion. Your future has self-love. Your future can tolerate crowds just as much as it can isolation. And boundaries are going to create an alignment in your life with where you want it to go, not where somebody else wants you to be. Good morning, Kelly. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that you enjoyed. I think yesterday you were off work because I heard that on a live when I lost my Wi-Fi listening to you yesterday. I was trying to get in there and I couldn't get back on some TikToking. Um, well, everybody, I just want you to have a great day. Brian, don't say hi to Kelly. I just want to, Brian, you know I'm kidding. Uh, you know that I want everybody to have a good day and a good time. And um, When it comes to TikTok, I've met some really nice people on here, and I appreciate the friendships, the texts, and all that that I get from different folks. And you're all just good people, and it's amazing where friendships can be cultivated. And in this particular room, where I like to talk in the mornings and everything, I just is so appreciative of people that come in here, people that actually take the time to come and listen to me. I appreciate that. I appreciate you're welcome, Farm Girl, of you guys coming in here. And our series, the one that we're on, is really good because next week when we get in to the second half of the boundaries, it's pretty deep, but it brought me into an area of self-esteem. Which so after the first of the year, so we got 2 weeks left. We finished the week of Christmas on this class, and the first of the year is going to be our self-esteem, and we're going to have an 8-week course starting our January and February, all about ourselves and how to start out our year, if you know what I'm talking about. So those are things that we're doing. Who's not responding, Kelly? Is it me? Did I miss something here? Kelly, I'll be around. I'll be around. I'll be around. Oh, if you're calling me, yeah, you can call me anytime. I'm around anytime. So I want to thank everybody for being in here today. Well, the creek don't rise. I'll be here. Good Lord, the creek don't rise. I like that. Sometimes I wonder what creek that is. I grew up out in Kansas, and Cowskin Creek would flood houses. Um, yeah, the creek don't rise. I like that one. I haven't heard that in a long time. That's a saying from when I was younger. That's some crazy good stuff right there. So anyway, just so everybody knows, I'm going to um, take care of my back today. Um, I have a lot of things to be grateful for, and my top thing of gratitude are all you who say thank you to me that come in here. And if I did say something that resonates to you today, I want you to run with it. Run with it. That they saying started from the Creek Indians, I believe. It's probably true. That's probably true. That's interesting. I have a new book. I was doing some shopping, everybody, the other day on Amazon, and I was getting some stocking stuffers, and I came across a book, and it's the book of bullshit, but it's really true. So it's little stories that just sound like bullshit, but they're really true. And I'm reading some of them and just reading some. I guess that they are facts because I guess they're not lying about it, but a lot of different things are in it. It's just like a little $8, $9 book from Amazon. I read it in under half an hour, but it was a good book and it was funny. There's funny facts in there and weird facts in there, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to tell people what it was, but I enjoyed that different book. I'm hoping that everybody has a good day today. I am going to take the time to run Norma down into DC. And Brian, I'm going to give you a call this morning. Kelly, if I'm supposed to call you, I'll call you this morning. I hope everybody has a really good day today and enjoys themselves. But most of all, pull your weeds in your heart that don't belong there. Get rid of any self doubt, get away of any comparisons. Take away anywhere where you don't feel like you're being yourself, where it creates resentment. Take in a deep breath, find nature, and if you have a waggy tailed friend, give them a hug.